So, this is Dr. Dinesh Kumar Ahirwar. I teach in the Department of Peace and Conflict Studies, Sikkim University. My area of interest is, of course, philosophy and political thought and political philosophy. And I have done PhD on Mao and Ambedkar's thought. So let's have a discussion on the phenomena of homosexuality. Homosexuality is, of course, you can see the title, that is being to becoming. And in this phenomenon, if you do the empirical study and critical empirical study, critical analysis, you can see lot of things, and there is confusion about this is because it is less discussed. Of course, there are many scholars, including Kant and Roger Scruton. He also has done study and critical inquiry on homosexuality. Of course, many philosophers have opposed the phenomena of homosexuality. So let's start with what is actually being to becoming. And my objection is why becoming cannot be declared being. Like homosexuality is declared innate. That is the major problem of mine with this declaration by the Supreme Court. So what is, you can see the beginning of the life, then journey and the destiny. So how being is transformed into becoming and taking the identity. That is what in Leibniz term that not occurred is innate, but something which has already occurred is not innate. That is what identity become. That is not innate. So those who are very much sentimental about this phenomena, please note it down that I am not against the community. So don't see this presentation from the sentimental point of view. And what I am going to see is this: homosexuals are as same as heterosexuals. So there is no difference, as they are human being, as we are all are human being. So homosexuals or other sexuals orientations people are the same as heterosexuals. So all the people are same of the different sexual orientation. People cannot be segregated based on how they satisfy their sexual desire. This is actually which is being propounded in the judiciary, or which is being discussed in the present time, that the difference in the method of satisfying sexual desire or sexual attraction towards somebody is being defined as separate or different. That is a real problem. Love of the homosexuals is not fake. I'm not saying it is fake. It is very much real. It is very much kicking. It is very much vibrant and very, very strong. But this love is only irrational. That is what the point is. So see, the love in the heterosexual couple becomes rational only because it is productive. Otherwise it also has been irrational. That is a different issue. So understanding being to becoming is very important. If being and becoming is same as Supreme Court is saying, then it goes against freedom. It goes against freedom. So if somebody says that somebody is having sexual attraction to one particular thing, it is not. That goes against the freedom. So if becoming is fixed, you know, and not separate from being, then it is extremely dangerous concept and goes against the concept of freedom. Why? Because see, the theory of let's say old theories of the Punarjanma or Bhagavad Gita's theory of birth and rebirth and karma and dharma and punarjam, then there is no escape from this cycle, because the destiny, your future is fixed. It is in the hands of God. That is what it goes against the freedom. So if becoming is again fixed, it goes against freedom. Understanding, let's say, and social inequality, believe justifies as biological if becoming is declared being. This is my serious objection. Slavery was justified before Enlightenment philosophy. Untouchability was justified, of course. Caste system was justified. Varna system was justified. Even there are many issues, and even women's right were not accepted as equal. Women were not accepted as equal. They were considered inferior to men. That was actually so. In even the context of women, it was becoming how they became big. So, but the being and becoming, the difference was completely diluted. It was considered same. So social inequality will be justified again, and Enlightenment philosophy actually brought this concept of being and becoming and differentiating being and becoming, and brought the concept of justice. Otherwise, so now this being and becoming, separation of being and becoming, identifying being and becoming is actually, and making them same, is a counterproductive and counter revolutionary, which goes against rationality and logic. I will come later why it is a problem. And what is the danger? Danger is we are same, hence we are treated equally before the law. If we claim that we are separate, then we can be treated differently before the law. This is very, very dangerous. There was no equality before law, before modern judiciary system. Only Enlightenment philosophy declared all the human beings same, so they are treated equally. If people are treated equally only because they are same, if they are claimed different, then they can be treated differently. This is what my warning and suggestion is. I have 6 major objections to this phenomena. First is homosexuals are not different. They are very much same. They are not different. And the difference which is being claimed, that it is biological or it is innate, they are same. Second, my objection is it is a form of sexual violence against self. If we go further to understand homosexuality or the same-sex couple, after some period of time going for surgery of their sexual organ or sexual transformation surgeries, so these surgeries in fact goes against the claim previously they claim. That is what the real issue is. Third objection is homosexuality is, of course, rationality. It is not rationality. It cannot be declared rationality. So Supreme Court must have to define what is rationality and what is irrationality in sexual behavior. My fourth objection is becoming cannot be declared being. This I already clarified. When becoming is declared being, then it is extremely dangerous, and it goes against the principle of social equality. It justifies inequality in the society. And before Enlightenment philosophy, there was no difference of becoming and being, and everything was, you can see that. My fifth objection is homosexuality is not innate, that I already clarified. And the sixth number objection, it is against freedom of the choice. That is what, you cannot change your sexual orientation over the period of time, which actually homosexuals becomes bisexual and queer later period of the time. There are many testimonies which you can see. So what is the action and what is the result? If becoming is declared being, then there is no freedom of the action. And when result is fixed, then it is too dangerous. So you cannot test by eating sugar. This is the actually the here I'm talking about adoption of identity. So how a homosexual experience of a couple claims that they are not made to go into relationship of with the opposite sex. This is the fundamental question which I will ask in the context, that how do you know that you are not heterosexual? The same question is actually asked to heterosexuals, that why, how do you know that you don't like the same sex? So they transform themselves into bisexual. This is what actually, so it is changeable over the period of time. So you cannot test salt by eating sugar. Nobody, it's not possible. If you have not tested salt, then you do not know the taste of salt. That is what. So if you eat the sugar, you know the taste of sugar, not the taste of salt. So you test the sugar, you will know the taste of sugar, not of the salt. Nobody can say that he is born to eat sugar without tasting salt. So this is what actually, if you know all the test, then it is freedom. And if you bind yourself to one particular phenomena in society, that is actually is a illusion, or kind of voluntary attachment. So what is becoming? And becoming cannot be declared being. Becoming cannot be declared being. So being is innate and becoming is not. So what my objection is here, there is nothing wrong and right in this world if becoming is declared being. Why? Because the difference in social equality is made by the differentiating being and becoming. Otherwise, there is no wrong in this world. There is no wrong in this world if being and becoming are not understood separately. Slavery, caste system, varna system, racism can be justified if becoming is declared being, and it is against freedom and human will. That is what. So Supreme Court would have identified homosexuality in the spirit of freedom rather than locating it in being or declaring it innate. That is dangerous. So what is innate? Let's say what is innate is that you have to understand in Leibniz language, actually I surpassed that slide. So we will be discussing what have not occurred is innate. Something which has already occurred is not innate. That is the greatest rationalist. Leibniz is saying about this. Something which occurred, happened, is not innate. Something which is not happened, that is innate. So without experiments, without experience or manifestation, something is innate. If it is manifested, it is not innate. That is what the problem Supreme Court has to understand in the discourse of the philosophy and the intellectual discussion and debate. So John Locke, what he says, actually he rejected innate. He said that there is nothing is innate and everything is a learned behavior. Everything is earned or learned. That is what mind is, tabula rasa, he said. So mind is a blank slate. Mind is tabula rasa, mind is blank slate. But he said that if something is innate, that is universal. So what is the point of discussing and accepting innate? If innate, something innate is, that could be the disability. That is what his language. And something which is learned, that is in society, and that is not universal. That is what merit, he will say, or the private property. So mind is tabula rasa for John Locke, and he did not accept. And this could be the most empiricist scholars argument. The empiricist philosopher will accept this mind is tabula rasa, and rationalist will accept the idea of the innate. So we will discuss Kant and his idea of the logic and what is innate actually. Then so we will go to the so Immanuel Kant, he accepted, what he argued is that mind is having innate capacity to exercise logic. The capacity to reason and logic is innate in human mind. Other philosophers, of course, Noam Chomsky, he said that the to understand the grammar or the language, structure of language and grammar is their innate capacity in our mind to understand that. So mind's innate ability of logic or reasoning. So what is it? Everybody has a, in their mind, everybody has the ability to use logic. It is so it becomes universal, and that universal is also declared moral by the Immanuel Kant. It is ideal, and it is also separate from real. These are the parameter and foundation of the present, let's say, the modern judiciary system as well. We believe in judicial system and judiciary and expect justice only because of this. Only because of this. If we reject the idea that human mind has no capacity to exercise logic and reasoning, then we cannot expect justice from the judiciary. So if we say that mind is tabula rasa, everything is learned from the experience, then everybody will be biased. That is, so your biasness, or somebody who is a judge, his biasness is sidelined only by using logic and reason. That is what we accept, and It is out of the context. It is universal. It is moral. It is ideal and separate from the real. So when some rights are declared absolute right, they have to be defended. Freedom has to be defended. That is what right to life has to be defended at any cost. That is what logic say. So foundation of the modern judiciary is this. What is justice? Justice is logically understanding being and how it is separate from becoming. So being is universal, being is transcendental, being is innate and not the becoming. In the becoming we are separate. In becoming we all are not same. In being we are same. In becoming we are not same. That is the difference Supreme Court has to understand. And the scholars and the Marxist, liberal, whatever, whosoever these philosophers or intellectuals or academicians are, there cannot be any difference in being. We can accept the difference only in becoming. So we are separate and different in becoming, not in being. But Supreme Court is saying that there is difference in being, and that is too dangerous, extremely dangerous. We cannot be separate in being. If we are different in being, then we can be treated differently before the law, and that could be the disaster to the human civilization. And this is the warning. So we can be separate in becoming, not in being. That is, all the people have to understand this. There cannot be justice. How means it is out of my imagination that Supreme Court is not having the understanding of the basic premises of the logic and reasoning upon which the foundation of the modern judicial system is based. If being is declared different, then people can be treated differently. Then everybody will not be equal before the law. This is a problem. Everyone was not equal before the law, before Enlightenment philosophy. Why? Because becoming was considered being, and everybody was treated differently. Why? Because they are different. So what is innate and logical is it is universal. That is what we aspire for. People can just get justice from universalism, not from the context. So universal, not contextual. Innate is universal, not contextual. Moral is innate, not the ethical. Ethics is contextual. Reasonable, not sentimental. Ideal, not real. And transcendental, not boundary. So what is innate and what is not innate, I have differentiated. And society, whole world, society can expect justice from judiciary when being is innate and becoming is social and contextual. If becoming is declared innate, then there is no point of getting justice. Simply there is nobody in this society should expect justice from judiciary if judiciary declares becoming being. It's a serious problem which I'm discussing. It's an extremely serious problem. It will shake the foundation of modern judiciary system. Why people should trust the judiciary? if they cannot differentiate between being and becoming. This is absolutely a serious problem which everybody need to understand. What is love? In fact, I will say love or to love is a emotion. To love somebody is a emotion. To attract towards somebody is emotion. That is innate. But if you say that you're beloved, you are made to meet particular beloved, it is not innate. Person is not innate. Place is not innate. Object is not innate. Family members, meeting with family member, or let's say father or mother, it's a dangerous concept. So your destiny cannot be fixed. It restricts the freedom which actually we all believe. So love is innate, not the beloved. Meeting with beloved or your attachment to beloved. Beloved of your same sex or opposite sex or any sex. If you say that I have a special connection with my beloved, that is your perception, your emotion. It is not innate. It is not universal. It is contextual. That is what people need to understand. Hate, let's say. Hate is an emotion, universal emotion. That can be innate. But whom with whom you hate, to whom you hate is contextual. It depends on the context. Whom you love depends on the context. Whether you love same sex person or opposite sex person or animal, it depends on the context. There is nothing biological. You can be attracted to anyone. So hate, you hate animal, you hate individual, you hate family member, you hate friend, or you hate anyone else. But that hating somebody is not innate. But to hate someone is innate. That you have to keep in mind. Hunger in test. Hunger for food. I need food. That is my biological need. I need food. But if I say that I like chicken, that is contextual. I feel I have a special connection with tandoori chicken. I feel I have a special connection with tandoori chicken. That is not an innate relationship because I like to eat chicken. That is not innate relationship. Innate is you have ability to like any food. But when it is manifested in food habit, that is not innate. It cannot be declared innate. So ability to taste food is innate. But if you say that you want to eat only good food and rest of the society want to eat not appropriate food, it is a problem, serious problem. So if you feel a special connection with food, with particular food, it is not innate, it is social and contextual. So same way, if you feel especially attracted towards someone who is from same sex or opposite sex or any animal, that special connection is very, very much contextual. It is not innate, it is social, and there is no any problem with it. That is what. So sexual desire and sexuality, it is very, very important, which is being discussed on the context in the context of same-sex marriage. What is innate, not occurred. That is Leibniz language, what I'm using, the Leibniz framework. He is saying that that is not occurred, that is innate. Homosexuality is already occurred. It's not innate. Sexuality or sexual desire is innate. But method to satisfy your sexual desire is not innate. Method could be anything. It can be oral, anal, or heterosexual, or watching porn, or masturbation. It can be anything. It has nothing to do with your sexuality. It is method to satisfy sexuality. Partners to satisfy your sexual desire. There can be one partner, two partner, or many partner, or same sex partner, or opposite sex partner, or animal. So your partners are not fixed. Your method is not fixed. It is completely a wrong premises to set that from the particular method I get fulfill my sexual desire. Completely a illogical and irrational argument. If somebody says that I satisfy my sexual desire from this particular method, you can satisfy heterosexuals, let's say, they also satisfy their sexual desire through different sexual activities. So homosexuals can also satisfy their sexual desire by different sexual activities. Not only one particular method or attraction towards same sex. That is what court need to understand, and those who are homosexual, they need to understand. If homosexuals goes in relationship, accidental relationship, I'm not saying let's say deliberate, accidental relationship with heterosexual uh, you know opposite sex, they can bear children. So biologically they are fertile, they have capacity of reproduction. If they do go with opposite sex, homosexuals, if they go with opposite sex, they can have children. So their organs, reproductive system is fine. That is what Chief Justice of India is saying, that genital organs will not fix the sexual orientation. This is actually a kind of, then where you have to root your sexual identity, if not sexual organ, means biological sexual organ, then it can be sexual attraction towards same sex, opposite sex, or animal. Then next argument will come that if Bill's court will also allow sexual attraction towards animal, the people who have sexual attraction toward animal, for the marriage. So sexual attraction towards something, same sex or opposite sex, is a social, not innate. Sexuality is innate, sexual desire is innate. So how you satisfy your sexual desire with same doing sexual activity with same sex or opposite sex or animal or group sex, whatever, or anal sex or oral sex or masturbation, it's a different thing. So how can sexuality be fixed with the method of satisfying sexuality? This is the fundamental question which actually everybody is missing. So please, let's say some people like to have sexual activity at beach or in a hotel room or any beautiful places. So sexuality has nothing to do with these places or activities or partner. Sexuality has nothing to do with partner. It is orientation. Sexual activity with any partner is a orientation, social activity, not innate. That is what. So what is actually when a social phenomena is declared innate, it is a problem, and that is my objection. Otherwise, if it is rooted in freedom, there is no issue. But when it is rooted in being and becoming is declared being, then it is a problem. So what is justice? Of course, the foundation of the modern judiciary is based on logic. So if a posteriori knowledge should have no claim or no influence on the innate idea, otherwise there will be no justice. It is biases. If social is having influence over innate or a priori, then it is bias. There cannot be a neutral authority which can deliver justice. Not occurred is absolute, but occurred will have no implication on non-occurred. This is Leibniz framework which I am using. So, which is occurred or manifested, it is social. Which is not occurred but having the potentiality is innate. So, what is justice? And Supreme Court, of course, knows all this. But we have to refresh, at least revisit all the time. So, what is justice? Innate and not innate. Logical. If it is not logical, we cannot get justice. So, something which is not logical, it is biases. Something which is not universal, it is contextual. Something which is not moral, it is immoral or contextual. Ideal. We are aspiring to be or set the ideals or achieve a ideal society. Why all the people should follow law? Why? Because judiciary or we all believe in common good. If we do not believe in common good, we should not follow law. If we do not believe in universal morality, we will not believe in state and law. So, justice has to be ideal, not real. That is, everybody has to understand. Justice has to be ideal and not real. Objective has to be ideal and not real. So what is ideal? Innate is ideal. And it is not, real cannot be declared ideal. That we need to understand. So if, like Immanuel Kant, I will quote him. He said that homosexuality cannot be universalized. It is not immoral, not logical. So, out of social, what is transcendental value? Out of social, one particular society treats another particular people differently. So, what is an abstract idea that is not anti-social but out of social in particular context? Ethnicity, language, culture, religion, it goes out of these boundaries, not anti-social, out of social. So there can be a biological disability, but there cannot be biological privileges. If we say biological privileges, as before Enlightenment philosophy, king was considered meritorious to rule. There were different assignments for different communities based without making difference of being and becoming. That was the problem. So what is right and good and what is wrong and bad? Wrong and right is has to be decided in the sphere of innate, not in the sphere of social. Society, there are many things going on, wrong or right or so many things, but only vantage point which can be is to have a logical conclusion of something which is universal and ideal and moral, then only it is good. Otherwise, it is not good for the society. So, should and ought to be can be fixed through innate ideas, not is and was. That is what the fundamental issue with the present discourse. So I will of course speak here about the discourse. Power, the present capitalist power and logic has created a discourse where homosexuality is being declared innate. So people cannot think out of the discourse set by the power. This is the problem which Supreme Court is also doing. The let's say wrong or not understanding. I was watching Chief Justice video interview he has done very recently. He was saying that Supreme Court or judiciary stands truth. Let truth speak to the power. Correct. Very good. It is a revolutionary statement. We all expect judiciary should speak truth to power. But actually, we have to understand what is truth and what is power. If power has said the truth, then it is extremely dangerous. And I will tell you why liberal, intellectual and Marxist they are supporting. They think that something which is opposed by religious people, we have to support it. Something which is even destructive, going for destructive change, we have to support it. There is at least change, there is at least some kind of heart to the whole society. This is what actually logic is to the intellectuals and supporters who thinks that, see, something is new is happening. Same-sex marriage is a new concept. Let's say it is suppressed, not accepted. Sexual minorities has no space in the society, so we should accept. But if these sexual minorities cannot have a right to do sexual violence against self, there is a self-harm in it. And if you go to the functionalities, you will understand the agenda of the market, funding from the market and all these things, and who created and how this discourse is created to do the structural violence against the people who are fighting for their own right to do violence against themselves. This is a design of the power which we have to understand. This is a design of the power. It is a form of structural violence where individuals will be doing violence against themselves to and why in the name of rights. There are many incidents, means examples of the self-inflicted violence in the Indian history or any civilizational history, even Chinese history. Sexual violence against self. Even in you read Chinese history, Indian history, or any civilizational history, there are many examples in the history where people were doing violence against themselves. And Violence against themselves means you can not demand the right to use violence against yourself. This is what actually Switzerland has done. Switzerland has legalized suicide. If suicide is legalized, then there is no wrong, nothing is wrong. So if you stop somebody from committing suicide, you are doing a crime. So you can be penalized for harassment if you stop somebody from committing suicide in Switzerland. So in India, within 20 to 30 years, suicide will also be legalized, and there will be protest by the people to get the right to commit suicide. This is, I'm giving you the example of the structural violence where you forget what is your real interest. That is what. So it is the form of the structural violence where you exercise that violence against yourself. This is what I will stop here and expect people to ask a question. If you want to really understand philosophy, what is philosophy? My eligibility is not that I have done PhD from Jawaharlal Nehru University and I have done PhD on political philosophy of Mao and Ambedkar. It's not my eligibility. My eligibility is I come from a background. I stayed 20 years in my village and I had experienced everything. What is village and what is urban society, what is rural society, how people think in different ways. And I know what is labor, what is mental labor and what is manual labor. I know. So doing mental labor and manual labor, I know the difference. So I have experience living in a village. That is what my eligibility to engage with any philosophical idea. So I'm not only talking about in theory, I'm also talking about practice. I know the practice, I know the theory. So what is theory and what is practice? What is ideal and what is real? What is moral and what is immoral? We have to discuss. So if you are really interested in any philosophical idea, we can discuss and debate and get justice. What is right and what is wrong can only be discussed in the sphere of logic and reason, in the universalism, in the morality, not in the context. If something is being declared good in the context, then we have to go for deglobalization because there is no universalism. So downtrodden and marginalized sections of the society cannot expect justice when there is no universalism. When all the people are not equal and same, there will be no justice. So demand to declare yourself different is suicidal. Demanding to declare yourself different from others is suicidal, which is not in fact a new, it is very old idea. It's not very new idea that you want to demand separate. I am special or different. That difference is can actually lead to the inequality in the society which capitalism wants to create. Capitalism, see, I'll tell you one thing, very important thing here to discuss. Here, see, Justice Chandrachud was saying that judiciary stand to speak truth before power. But he is thinking that the conservatism of the right wing, or let's say Hindu sentiment or Muslim sentiment or Isai sentiment or Sikh sentiment is power. No, it's not. Religious identities or religion or religious authorities are not powerful. Capitalism is in the power, and capitalism actually wants some people to demand the right of being different. Then real capitalism will really will play the real game. It in coming 20 or 30 or 50 years, within 50 years you will see the disaster capitalism will do. So religious identity, just they are fighting for their protection of their identity, that's all. Of course they did not recognize minorities, sexual minorities, these, but it is not, they are not powerful. Religious identities are not powerful. Now capitalism has started creating social structure and social theory, which is saying that some people are different from others. This is the theory of the capitalism. So this, in the previous, in the age of feudalism or old societies, some people, many people were different, they were not same. So this is the beginning of claim of different. Once homosexual community is declared different, means biologically, then there will be many identities will come with the different claim of different, being different. Then the real game of the power starts. So power need not to treat all equally, or judiciary need not to treat equally if people are from different, biologically different. Socially, you can say socially people are different. But if biologically people are different, it is a real issue. So capitalism had already started theorizing the theory which was used to be in practice before Enlightenment philosophy. I will say before this judiciary, to understand this, the discourse has already been created by capitalism where social is being declared innate. This is the real problem. That is what I am saying. Otherwise, I simply don't understand. And see, I'll give you one more example. It's not like no, the old power which was in the hands of religion. It was capitalism actually which promoted these ideas which are written, you can see on the screen: logical, universal, moral, ideal, and right, good and bad and should. All these ideas were and being promoted by capitalism. But now, why? Because they were promoting, capitalism promoting these ideas only because they wanted to fight feudalism and religion by saying that, see, we promote universalism, we promote justice, we promote equality, liberty, fraternity, all these ideas. So so they can create some good image in the society, and people accept it. Now capitalism is has become the dominant force, creating discourse. It is a ruling philosophy, created discourse, so people cannot think out of the discourse. That is the real issue. Even rationality and irrationality, if it is not separated, why? Because power dictates, and power tells the discourse to decide what is good, what is bad. This is what actually. So people are not really, and society and academicians and intellectuals, they really do not know actually what is innate and what is not innate. Innate is fixed, by the power, how to create a society. That is what. So actually, declaring homosexuality innate is the creation of the discourse set by the power of the capitalism, not by the rationality or intellectual exercise. This and this is the truth. This is the truth. I will say to the court as well. This is the truth. It is not the truth that see sentimental religious communities opposing homosexuality. It is not the truth. So we have to claim that right. No, it is not the truth. Truth is capitalism has created a discourse where people cannot think rationally. This is the truth. It is not the truth that no, because of the sentiment of religious communities, these identities were not recognized. It is not the truth. Truth is capitalism has created a discourse where people cannot think rationally and critically, and they cannot differentiate what is being and what is becoming. What is being and what is becoming, they cannot differentiate. This is the discourse has been created by the power of the capitalism, where people cannot differentiate between rationality and irrationality, logic and illogic, social and biological, innate and not innate, being and becoming. There will be no difference. Why? Because capitalism does not want you to think rationally and critically. So they are blocking your mind. This is the power, and nobody can say this. I am speaking truth. Buddha said, no truth as truth and untruth as untruth. So speak truth and know the truth. And what is the truth? It is only rationality which we can. In fact, see, Buddhism and rationality, see, the literal meaning, Buddhism and rationalism, it is same. So Buddhism is a tradition, and I am a Buddhist, staunch Buddhist. I have read Ambedkar. Ambedkar was fighting against irrationality of the theory of the Brahmanism created. Why? What is Manusmriti? See, Ambedkar was whole life he was fighting. What he was fighting? Where work and occupation was declared innate, fixed by the birth. This is what. Now sexuality is being declared innate. So capitalism fixing it. Previously it was Brahmanism or philosophy of Brahmanism which has fixed occupation as a destiny of an individual by birth. So occupation was declared innate, actually fixed. Are you getting? That is the real issue, and now sexuality is being declared innate. Slavery was declared innate, of course, that some people are born to be slave. This is Aristotle. So slavery was declared innate, but slavery was a social form of becoming, not being. Untouchability and caste was becoming, but it was declared innate, fixed by birth. भगवान ने फिक्स किया है. God has fixed you. Some people are born to do the priest job. Some people are born to do lowly job. This was a fixation. There was no freedom. Why? Because there was no separation of being and becoming. So now in the context of homosexuality as well, a sexual identity, the separation of being and becoming has been completely diluted. Why? Because capitalism wants it, and that is the power has created a discourse. That is what Foucault's talking about. So this is the lecture. If you have clarification and question on being and becoming, so being cannot you know, becoming cannot be being. That is what my objection is. So I will stop here. If you have any question, queries, please comment. Subscribe this channel for philosophical debate and discussion. This is not against anyone, any community, but it is only for intellectual purpose, not to offend anybody's sentiment or against any community. So I will stop here. Thank you very much. Please do subscribe this channel.